In a world where fame often shifts priorities, where loved ones are easily overshadowed by flashing lights, it is rare, almost sacred, to witness a moment so deeply human that it reminds us what truly matters. When Big Brother Mzansi finalist Sweet Guluva stepped out with his mother for a private, heartwarming date, it wasn't just a sweet gesture. It was a moment of reverence. A soft, powerful declaration of love, gratitude, and deep-rooted respect. This wasn't about trends. It wasn't about clout or social media likes. It was a man choosing to be intentional, to give back to the woman who poured into him, long before the world knew his name. After leaving the Big Brother house, Sweet Guluva was instantly embraced by thousands. His energy, integrity, and undeniable calm presence resonated far beyond the walls of the house. With public appearances lined up, brand interest growing, and the confusion of newfound fame just beginning to unfold, he had every reason to dive into the next phase of his journey. But before any of that, he chose something softer. He chose to take his mother on a date. Not because it would trend, not because cameras were rolling, but because that's what love does. It returns home before it travels far. He didn't need fanfare. No elaborate captions. No rehearsed speeches. Just him, his mother, and a moment that echoed far louder than any promotional campaign ever could. Mothers are often the unsung architects of success stories. They are the backbone of resilience, the source of silent prayers and sleepless nights. For many South Africans, the image of a son taking his mother out, not just to eat, but to honor her, is deeply emotional. For Sweet Guluva, this wasn't a media opportunity. It was sacred time with the woman who saw him through every chapter. The woman who prayed when things were quiet, who made sure he had even when she didn't. Their time together wasn't documented heavily, and that's part of what made it so impactful. There was no overproduction. No need for validation. The sincerity of the gesture spoke for itself. It was a reminder that real love doesn't shout. It sits. It listens. It shows up. Many fans were left emotional not just by the act itself, but by the ripple effect it created. On social media, comments poured in from people inspired to call their mothers, to visit home, to say thank you in ways they hadn't thought to before. In a society where expressions of gratitude are often delayed until moments of mourning, Sweet's gesture felt like a wake-up call, a living tribute instead of a eulogy. He reminded people, especially young men, that it is not weakness to honor the women who raised them, that it is not unmanly to say thank you with tenderness. That success means little if it isn't rooted in the relationships that made it possible. This was not just about food. It was about nourishment, of the soul, of the bond, of shared history. There's something incredibly healing about seeing a grown man sit across from his mother, without distractions, offering not just his money, but his presence. That kind of togetherness isn't bought. It's earned. It's built over time, trust, and mutual understanding. And when his mother smiled, perhaps through tears, what the world saw was more than just a happy moment. It was a spiritual exchange. What made the gesture even more meaningful is the timelessness of it. In a culture that often celebrates romantic love over all others, we forget how deep the love between a parent and child can go, especially when that child becomes an adult, with their own path, their own fame. Yet even with all that, Sweet Guluva never lost touch with the truth. His mother was his first home. Their date wasn't nostalgia, it was continuity. A reminder that love matures, but it doesn't expire. That the bond between mother and child can evolve into friendship, into deep spiritual companionship, if we choose to nurture it. In a society where men are often taught to suppress tenderness, to lead with ego rather than empathy, Sweet Guluva offered a radical alternative. He showed that there is strength in vulnerability. That real masculinity can look like kindness, like listening, like slowing down for the people who once carried you. Taking his mother on a date wasn't just an act of love. It was an act of healing for a generation of men told to keep emotions locked away. He gave them permission to feel, to express, to return. What makes Sweet Guluva's story special is that he doesn't chase the lens. He lives from his core, from the values instilled in him before the spotlight found him. This date wasn't a move on the celebrity chessboard. It was a man remembering who he is. Not Sweet Guluva, the Big Brother star, but the son of a woman who sacrificed in silence so he could shine in the light. And for his mother, this wasn't just a special evening. It was affirmation. It was love made visible. In many communities, generational trauma passes quietly. Children grow up feeling unloved, unrecognized, or disconnected. But one simple act of intentional love can start to break that pattern. Sweet Guluva didn't just show love, he modeled how to restore it. He showed how sitting across from your parent, no matter how successful you become, can bridge years of unspoken emotion. That sometimes, the deepest healing doesn't happen in therapy rooms, but in quiet dinners where love is served without needing to be explained. For fans who have followed Sweet Guluva's journey from the Big Brother house to his current season of Grace, this moment was profound. It reminded them of why they fell in love with him in the first place. Not for dramatics, but for his depth, for his quiet strength, for his ability to stay true to himself, even when every camera in the country is watching. The way he loves his mother is a reflection of how he treats people, with gentleness, care, and honor. And that's what sets him apart, not just as a personality, but as a man. Too often, we see celebrities take care of loved ones in performative ways, public stunts meant to boost their image. But there was none of that here. Sweet Guluva's love for his mother is not selected. It is not marketed. It is felt. That's why it resonates. It's the kind of love that doesn't need to be explained. You see it in the stillness. You feel it in the silence. You believe it even when no words are spoken. As Sweet Guluva's influence continues to grow, this moment will likely remain one of the most powerful in his public journey. Not because it made headlines, but because it laid the foundation for something deeper. Legacy. Legacy isn't about how many people follow you. It's about how many hearts you touch. And Sweet Guluva, by honoring his mother so tenderly, began building a legacy rooted in gratitude, not ego. That kind of legacy never fades. We live in a time of confusion, of distractions. And yet, in the middle of it all, this one act, a date between a son and his mother, cut through the static and gave us all a moment of clarity. It reminded us that no matter how far we go, how high we rise, the greatest success lies in how we love. Sweet Guluva didn't take his mother on a date to make headlines. He did it to say, without words, thank you. Tell us which country you are watching from.